Angel Reese just proved she's not over Caitlin Clark. And the receipts? A list of 4 names that broke the internet. But the name that wasn't on that list? That's the part that has everyone talking. Because this isn't just petty, this is personal. And what Angel said right after naming those 4 players, that's the part nobody's talking about. But we'll get to that in a minute. Here's what makes this even crazier. The podcast episode had nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. At least that's what Reese claimed. Angel and DiJonai Carrington sat down for Unapologetically Angel to talk about something that genuinely frustrates them. The relentless criticism from newer WNBA fans about their appearance. Reese vented about people saying she's too focused on makeup, lashes, nails, and outfits. Like she can't put on lip gloss and still dominate on the court. Carrington opened up about something even more personal. She hates when people question why she has blonde hair, as if her hair color is somehow up for public debate. They talked about the stereotypes that plague women's basketball. The idea that WNBA players are too masculine, wearing long shorts and braids, all dating each other. The irony? Carrington is literally dating fellow WNBA player Nelisa Smith, but their frustration was real, and you could hear it in their voices. These are 2 women who show up and ball out every single night, and they still get criticized for daring to look good while doing it. The conversation was meant to push back against those double standards. Then Angel dropped the list, and if you think that was an accident, wait until you hear what happened next. To understand why one missing name caused this much chaos, we need to go back. 2023, the NCAA championship game. The moment Angel Reese became the villain in Caitlin Clark's story. Or was it the other way around? LSU versus Iowa wasn't just basketball. It was theater. It was drama. It was everything March Madness is supposed to be. Angel Reese led her Tigers to victory over Caitlin Clark's Hawkeyes. And in the final moments, Reese pointed to her ring finger in a mocking gesture that became instantly iconic. The celebration was brash, unapologetic, and directed straight at Clark. Fans were split down the middle. Some loved Reese's confidence and swagger. Others called her classless and disrespectful. But either way, a rivalry was born that night. And it followed both players straight into the WNBA. Fast forward to 2024. Reese joined the Chicago Sky while Clark became the face of the Indiana Fever. Their 4 meetings that season? Chippy doesn't even begin to describe it. Physical fouls, hard screens, trash talk. Sky players didn't hold back when defending Clark, and the internet had plenty to say about whether those plays crossed the line. Every hard foul felt like another chapter in an ongoing saga. Fans on both sides were keeping receipts and building cases. This wasn't just competition anymore. This was war. And just when you thought things couldn't get messier between these camps, September happened. A playoff game, a fingernail, and an incident so controversial it triggered death threats, stalking, and accusations that still echo today. The Connecticut Sun faced off against the Indiana Fever in what should have been a celebration of competitive basketball. Instead, it turned into a nightmare for DiJonai Carrington. During the game, Carrington's fingernail accidentally caught Caitlin Clark in the eye, left a visible mark, the kind you could see on camera, and the reaction, swift and vicious, doesn't even cover it. Within hours, fans accused Carrington of intentionally trying to hurt Clark. Death threats flooded her social media. Her girlfriend, Nelisa Smith, revealed that Carrington was being followed and harassed in real life, not just online trolls. Real people following her, threatening her safety. Smith posted on social media, defending her partner. She explained she'd sent Carrington flowers to support her mental health amid the chaos. The situation was dark, ugly, and completely out of control. And here's where Angel Reese comes back into the story. When Carrington won the Most Improved Player award shortly after, Angel Reese was one of the first to congratulate her publicly. Fans interpreted that support as Reese celebrating the eye poke itself, even though both Carrington and Clark had already downplayed the incident and moved on. The internet wasn't interested in nuance. They wanted villains. They wanted someone to blame, and they'd already decided who that was. Now here's what the media won't tell you. This is where the conversation gets uncomfortable but necessary. Over 60% of WNBA players are black women. and they face a level of scrutiny and harassment that their white counterparts simply don't experience. DiJonai Carrington, Brittany Griner, Angel Reese, Alyssa Thomas, all of them have spoken out about racist encounters with fans and online trolls. After that playoff game, DiJonai's girlfriend posted something that exposed just how dark things had gotten. Death threats, stalkers following her to her car, racist messages flooding her DMs by the thousands. And the league? They stayed mostly silent while it happened. When Carrington shows passion on the court, she's labeled aggressive or emotional. When Reese celebrates a victory, she's called classless. Meanwhile, white players exhibiting similar intensity are praised for their competitive fire. The double standard is glaring once you see it, and you can't unsee it. After the eye poke incident, the racist harassment Carrington endured was horrifying. People didn't just criticize her play, they attacked her humanity, called her things I can't even repeat in this video. The WNBA has always positioned itself as progressive, championing social justice and equality. But when racism rears its head, the league's response has been inconsistent at best. Players are left to defend themselves on social media while the hate continues unchecked. This context matters. Remember that, because it explains everything about what happened next. Now, if someone left you off their baddies list after all this drama, you'd probably have something to say, right? Well, Caitlin Clark's response? It's not what you'd expect. And honestly, it might be the most savage move of all. In an interview with Time magazine, Clark addressed her relationship with Angel Reese directly. She made it clear they're not best friends, but they respect each other as competitors. Clark downplayed the rivalry narrative that fans and media love to push. She emphasized that competition is just part of the game, nothing personal, just basketball. When it came to the DiJonai Carrington eye poke, Clark also brushed it off as an accident. Showed no interest in feeding the controversy or adding fuel to the fire. Her approach has been consistent from day one. Focus on basketball, ignore the noise, let her performance speak for itself. Clark's measured responses stand in stark contrast to the chaos swirling around her. She's not engaging in the drama, not giving anyone ammunition, not playing the game everyone wants her to play, which makes her absence from Reese's list even more intriguing. Was it a snub? Was it simply Reese naming the players she's closest to? Or was it something deeper? Here's the thing about the term baddies. It's not just about physical appearance. In urban slang, calling someone a baddie means they exude confidence, style, and undeniable presence. They own who they are without apology or hesitation. When Reese named herself Carrington, Cameron Brink, and Kia Nurse, she wasn't just talking about who looks good in photos. She was highlighting women who embrace their femininity while dominating in a sport that often tries to diminish it. These are players who show up with perfect makeup, fresh nails, and designer outfits, then proceed to posterize defenders and grab double-doubles. The list was a celebration of that duality, of being beautiful and being dangerous on the court at the same time. But Clark's absence raises questions. Questions that people are still debating in the comments of every video about this. Is it because Reese genuinely doesn't see her that way? Is it lingering tension from their rivalry that dates back to that championship game? Or does it reflect something deeper about representation, beauty standards, and who gets celebrated in women's basketball? The internet certainly had theories, and none of them were charitable toward Reese. But here's what most people don't realize about why Reese made that list. And trust me, it has nothing to do with basketball. The timing of this controversy is fascinating when you consider everything else happening in the WNBA right now. The league is in the middle of intense collective bargaining agreement negotiations. The players' union opted out of the current deal. On that same podcast episode, Reese and Carrington discussed their willingness to strike in 2026 if negotiations don't go their way. They're fighting for better pay, improved working conditions, charter flights for all teams, not just some. The respect they believe WNBA players deserve after carrying the league through explosive growth. Meanwhile, the new unrivaled league has been making headlines, partly because both Reese and Carrington have been ejected from games for their passionate play. Fans jokingly called them part of the Sephora jail crew. a playful reference to their beauty-focused personas mixed with their on-court intensity. When DiJonai got her second technical for exchanging words with Shakira Austin, the internet went wild. Another baddie has entered the unrivaled Sephora jail, one fan tweeted. "We not shopping at Sephora. Ulta, all 2025 until you free Angel Reese, Ricky Jackson, and DiJonai Carrington from the shackles of these unrivaled ejections," said another. Their friendship is clearly strong, built on shared experiences of being unapologetically themselves in a league that sometimes wants them to be smaller, quieter, and less bold. So why did Angel Reese really leave Caitlin Clark off that list? Here's the truth nobody's talking about. This moment, this simple podcast list reveals so much about where the WNBA stands in 2025. The league has exploded in popularity, bringing in millions of new fans who don't understand the history, the relationships, or the context. Every interaction gets scrutinized. Every gesture becomes a controversy. Social media turns molehills into mountains within minutes. Angel Reese naming her friends as baddies should have been throwaway content, the kind of casual conversation that happens on podcasts every day. Instead, it became a referendum on respect, rivalry, and race in women's basketball. Caitlin Clark's name wasn't on the list, and that absence spoke volumes whether Reese intended it to or not, because this wasn't about beauty. It wasn't even about basketball. It was about something much deeper. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The bigger picture here isn't about 4 names or 1 omission. It's about how women athletes, particularly black women athletes, navigate a world that constantly polices their bodies, their words, and their celebrations. It's about how rivalries get weaponized by fans who project their own biases onto the players. It's about how the WNBA's growth has brought incredible opportunities, but also new pressures and toxicity that didn't exist before. Angel Reese and DiJonai Carrington are living proof that you can be beautiful, confident, and fierce without compromising your game. They refuse to apologize for taking up space, for celebrating wins, for defending each other when the world comes for them. Whether Caitlin Clark belongs on that list is almost beside the point. What matters is that these women are changing the conversation about what basketball players can be. And they're doing it on their own terms, no matter who's watching or criticizing. The WNBA is at a crossroads right now, and what happens next between these players could determine whether the league continues to grow or implodes under the weight of its own drama. Here's what I think is coming. The 2025 season is going to be must-watch television. Every Sky versus Fever game will trend on social media. Every interaction between Reese and Clark will be dissected frame by frame. And somewhere in the middle of all that noise, we're going to see some incredible basketball. Will Reese and Clark ever squash this beef publicly? Probably not. And honestly, the league doesn't want them to. Rivalries sell tickets. They drive viewership. They create moments that casual fans talk about at work the next day. Is the WNBA going to address the harassment problem that's plaguing their black players? That remains to be seen. But the pressure is building, and if they want to keep growing, they can't ignore it much longer. What happens if the players actually strike in 2026? The league could lose all the momentum they've built, or it could force the changes these women have been fighting for. Could this rivalry actually be good for the league despite all the toxicity? I think it already is. Like it or not, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark have become the faces of a new era in women's basketball, and that list? It's just another chapter in a story that's far from over.